When love demands you leave, you know what nobody tells you about being a good mother? That sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away. I recently had the privilege of sitting down with Melanie Drake, a woman whose courage is quietly revolutionizing what it means to love fiercely while refusing to lose yourself. Melanie is not just surviving, she is rewriting the script for an entire generation of Black women who have been taught that their worth is measured by how much they can endure. She is a mother, a caregiver, a dreamer who gave up admission to one of the most prestigious acting schools in the world, the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, to care for her daughters and their children. She is the kind of woman who holds families together, who shows up when everyone else falls apart, who sacrificed her body, her time, her future, because that's what we've been taught good Black mothers do. But Melanie is also a woman who had to make a choice that broke her heart to save her life. And in doing so, she is making the world a better place by showing us that love without boundaries isn't love at all, it's self destruction. Let me be clear, this conversation is not about abandoning your children, it's about refusing to abandon yourself. For generations, Black women have been told that strength means silence, that being a good mother means giving until there's nothing left, that softness, rest, boundaries, those are luxuries we don't get to have. We've been the backbone of families, the glue of communities, the ones who survive no matter what. And we've worn that like a badge of honor. But here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud: survival mode is killing us. The Black Women's Health Imperative has spent years studying what they call strong Black woman syndrome. It's the internalized belief that we must handle everything, never ask for help, and suppress our own needs to prove our worth. And the research is devastating. This isn't just about feeling tired or stressed, Chaz said. Black women who carry this burden experience higher rates of chronic stress, anxiety, depression, and physical illness. We are literally sacrificing our health, our mental well being, our very lives to meet an impossible standard. And for what? To keep a system running that was never designed to support us in the first place. Think about that. We are holding up entire families, entire communities, while our own bodies and minds are breaking down. The strong Black woman image comes from generations of Black women surviving slavery, racism, poverty, and systemic neglect, being the backbone of families and communities. Over time, that survival mode became an expectation, not a choice. Many Black mothers feel they must sacrifice everything to prove their worth and keep their families together. But what the Black Women's Health Imperative is showing us is that this expectation is not a compliment, it is a cage, and it is costing us our lives. Melanie lived this. She put her education on hold. She turned down the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, a dream she had worked for, poured herself into, believed in because her daughters needed her. One of her daughters has been battling seizures since 2018. The other needed help with her children. And Melanie, like so many of us, said yes. She became the default caregiver, the one who kept the babies, the one her grandchildren call mama, the one who made it possible for her daughters to work, to live, to function. She gave everything: her time, her energy, her dreams, her future. And then one day, her daughter put her hands on her. Let that sit with you for a moment. The daughter she had cared for through illness, through crisis, through everything, crossed the line. And Melanie had to make a choice: stay in that house and continue to be disrespected, continue to be used, continue to sacrifice her safety and her peace, or leave. She left. She got her own apartment. And since she's been gone, everything has fallen apart. One daughter hasn't been able to go to work. The other daughter's partner has had to take time off because she can't miss any more days. The system Melanie was holding up by herself. The invisible labor she was doing every single day is now exposed, and it breaks her heart. She prays they get it together, but she knows for her peace, she can't go back in that house. That decision, that boundary is not weakness. It is one of the most courageous acts of love I have ever witnessed. Because here's what we need to understand: self sacrifice without boundaries is not love, it's self abandonment. And when we abandon ourselves in the name of being strong, in the name of being loyal, in the name of being a good mother, we teach the people around us that our lives don't matter, that our pain doesn't count, that they can take and take and take, and we will never say no. The Family Caregiver Alliance has studied African American family caregivers extensively, and the data is clear. Black caregivers provide more hours of care per week than white caregivers, often with fewer resources and more financial strain. We feel obligated to be there no matter what, even when it's destroying us. And when conflict arises, when there's disrespect or even abuse in the home, we stay because we've been taught that leaving family is unthinkable. Many African American caregivers view their role as a moral and spiritual duty to always be present and to never abandon sick or struggling family members. This sense of duty often leads them to surrender jobs, schooling, and personal goals. Sound familiar? That's exactly what Melanie did. She turned down one of the most prestigious acting schools in the world to stay home and care for her daughters and grandchildren. And for years, she carried that weight alone. But what if staying is what's unthinkable? What if the most radical thing we can do is refuse to participate in our own harm? Melanie's story forces us to ask a question we've been avoiding. Where is the line? When does love stop being love and start being enabling? When does caregiving stop being nurturing and start being a cage? What do we stop calling it strength and start calling it what it really is? Slow self destruction. There's a platform called Therapy for Black Girls that has become a lifeline for thousands of Black women navigating these exact questions. They focus on Black women dealing with painful dynamics with family, especially adult children, and learning to set boundaries to protect their mental and physical safety. They teach boundary language that many of us have never been given permission to use. I will not allow you to speak to me that way. I will leave if this continues. I love you, but I will not stay in a home where I am unsafe. These are not cold statements, they are acts of self preservation. They are the words of a woman who knows that her life, her peace, her mental health, they matter too. And here's what happens when Black women start setting those boundaries. Women who implemented clear boundaries reported less anxiety and fewer depressive symptoms. They experienced more self respect and a stronger sense of identity beyond the role of caregiver or mother. And over time, some adult children began to adjust their behavior once they understood that their mother was serious about her limits. The family system didn't collapse, it recalibrated. It learned to function in a healthier way, but it requires the mother to do something terrifying. It requires her to choose herself. Melanie chose herself. And yes, it's painful. Yes, she's watching her daughter struggle. Yes, her heart is breaking, but she's also breathing. She's also safe. She's also beginning to reclaim a life that she put on hold for years. And that brings me to the three lessons I want you to walk away with today. Three truths that Melanie's story makes undeniable. First, self sacrifice without boundaries is not love, it's self abandonment. As Black professionals, as parents, as caregivers, many of us were taught that good means never saying no, especially to family. But constantly choosing everyone else over yourself costs you your dreams, your health, and your safety. Melanie gave up the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. She gave up years of education. She gave up her future because she believed that's what a good mother does. And the truth is, she is a good mother, but she's also a whole person who deserves a future too. Second, leaving can be an act of love for yourself and the next generation. Walking out of that house, getting her own apartment, starting over, that wasn't just about escape. It was about breaking a cycle. It was about refusing to teach her children and grandchildren that disrespecting her, using her, harming her is normal family life. When we stay in toxic situations, we normalize them. When we leave, we show the next generation that there are limits, that love does not mean tolerating abuse, that you can care deeply for someone and still refuse to be harmed by them. Third, you are allowed to reclaim your life even if it breaks your heart. Melanie turned down one of the world's most prestigious acting schools. Now, with her daughter struggling and her heart torn, she's still choosing peace. The message is clear. You are allowed to dream again. Even after years of putting yourself last, you are allowed to rest. You are allowed to say, I have given enough. You are allowed to build a life that honors who you are, not just who you've been to everyone else. Now, let me ask you something. What would happen if more of us adopted this perspective? What if more Black mothers, more Black caregivers, more Black women in general started believing that being a good mother does not require total self erasure? That love must include boundaries, even with your own children. We would see less burnout, less depression, less quiet suffering. The research on strong Black woman syndrome and caregiver stress shows that constant, unsupported caregiving leads to serious mental and physical health problems. Melanie's perspective interrupts that pattern. We would see healthier family dynamics across generations. When mothers refuse disrespect and abuse, they teach their children and grandchildren that love does not equal exploitation. Over time, that shifts how future generations give and receive care. We would see more Black women reclaiming their dreams, their education, their purpose. If Melanie's perspective became normal, fewer women would see their dreams as disposable. They might take breaks, but they wouldn't bury themselves permanently. And we would see a cultural shift in how we define strong. Strength would no longer mean the one who suffers the most in silence. It would mean the one who loves fiercely and still chooses herself when a line is crossed. This is what the soft girl era is all about. It's the sacred pause Black women have been waiting for. It's not a trend, it's a lifestyle rebellion, a deep exhale from the Superwoman script, a quiet but powerful return to softness, rest, self trust, and radical joy. Melanie is learning to be soft in a world that taught her survival. And in doing so, she's giving all of us permission to do the same. So here's my challenge to you. Right now, as you're listening to this, I want you to think about one relationship in your life: family, kids, work, business. Ask yourself this question: where am I abandoning myself in the name of being strong or loyal? Where am I giving so much that I'm disappearing? Where have I crossed my own line and pretended it didn't hurt? And then I want you to do something radical. Set one clear boundary this week to protect your peace. For Melanie, that boundary was leaving the house and not going back, even though her daughters are struggling, and it breaks her heart. For you, it might be different. It might be telling a child or partner, you cannot speak to me that way. It might be telling a job, I'm no longer available 24/7. It might be telling yourself, I am allowed to rest. Whatever it is, I want you to say it out loud. Write it down, share it with someone who will hold you accountable, because this is not just about feeling inspired for a moment and then going back to the same patterns. This is about making a real, tangible shift in how you live, how you love, and how you protect yourself. If you take nothing else from Melanie's story, take this. You can love your people and still save yourself. You are not required to break yourself to prove your love. You are not required to stay in spaces where you are harmed. You are not required to carry everyone else's weight while your own dreams die in silence. You are allowed to be soft. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to leave. You are allowed to choose yourself. And when you do, you're not abandoning anyone. You're teaching them what real love looks like, love that honors boundaries, love that protects peace, love that refuses to participate in harm. Melanie is doing that right now. And it's one of the most beautiful, courageous, world changing things I've ever seen. So let's follow her lead. Let's release the cape. Let's redefine strength. Let's embrace softness. Let's heal in real time. Let's protect our peace as a practice. And let's turn our survival into something sacred because we deserve more than survival. We deserve to thrive. We deserve to dream. We deserve to be whole. And it starts the moment we choose ourselves.